Hello there everybody, this is Lane, and today we're going to be doing another Mario plush battle. This time we're going to be talking about the ruler of the Mushroom Kingdom, Princess Peach. On the left we have the All-Star Collection Peach plush. She is available for around $15 at, most retail stores, mainly like Barnes & Nobles, Best Buy, Target, and GameStop. I think you can also get these at Walmart, though like very rarely. I haven't seen their Peach from the from the line in a while, but I'm pretty sure you might occasionally find their Peach plush sometimes. And then we have the Super Nintendo World Peach plush on the right. You can only buy her at the Super Nintendo World area at Universal Studios Japan and Universal Studios Hollywood. And on the back of her tag, she retails for around $20. Of course, if you're not sure, what the heck is going on, basically I made videos covering the Mario and Luigi plushes from Super Nintendo World, and basically I'm comparing them to the Cine All-Star Collection plushes, to see which ones I like them the best. So far, both Super Nintendo World Mario and Luigi have won. So how this is going to work is that I'm going to be comparing both the All-Star Collection and the Super Nintendo World Peach plush, to see, like which particular feature or design of the plush either looks better or the most accurate to, all the renders of Peach that Nintendo has released over the years. I'm mainly going to be comparing these two plushes to any artwork and renders of Peach from after 2002, since that was the year that Mario Party 4 came out, which was the first game to feature Peach's current look. So each plush will win 1 point for a particular feature that I liked more, and if they reach up to 10 points, they will win the plush battle. Alright, so which Peach is better? Let's find out. So yeah, so for this Peach plush, I bought her like years ago, so she no longer has her paper tag and her hanger, but her paper tag is pretty much in the same style as the Mario and Luigi. Like, it's just like, it's a character specific tag. It has like a render of Peach. It's a pretty nice looking paper tag. I like that, I like that it's character specific. And then for the Super Nintendo World Peach, this is actually the US Hollywood version of Peach, because the Mario and Luigi I have, they're from the Japanese parks. This one's actually from the US parks, and you can see on the back it tells you the price and everything, and the front. The paper tags on both releases are pretty much exactly the same. It's just it's a white background with like gray outlines of character artwork, Super Nintendo World logo, and Universal Studios below. It connects to her arm, unlike the Cine plushes, which are usually attached towards the touch tag. And so yeah, it's a very basic. It just gets the job done. But overall, I definitely, if you already seen the Mario and Luigi plush battle videos I already did, you definitely know which one is the winner. I will have to give the All-Star Collection Peach a point for having a unique paper tag. Alright, now let's talk about the touch tag. So, one interesting thing is that if you look at the pictures of the Japanese Super Nintendo World Peach plushes, because like there's a difference between the Japan and the Hollywood touch tags. The ones from Japan are much smaller, and there's like an extra white touch tag for the Universal Studios logo, whereas the Hollywood plushes, they have their touch tags. They have much bigger touch tags. I'm not sure if you could see good, but yeah, they have much bigger touch tags. It's just one big red touch tag. It has the same embroidery and everything. I'm really sorry, if the camera doesn't focus. It's super annoying. But yeah, you can definitely see it's a much bigger touch tag. But it's also, they put for the Hollywood ones, they put the touch tag on one of Peach's legs, whereas the ones from Japan, they have like the touch tag on the side of her dress. So that's kind of pretty interesting. But yeah, this is a US Peach plush released by Lil Buddy, and the touch tags, they're definitely a lot. They're much longer than the Japanese ones, because the Japanese ones, they just have the Super Mario logo on the front and Sine on the back. But the American ones from Lil Buddy, they have more legal information, everything, and how to wash them. They also have an actual Sine logo on here. Even though I actually do like the colored touch tags on the Super Nintendo World plushes in general, I'm gonna say if the Japanese and US Sine plushes, all have like the exact same touch tag placement, I'm gonna have to actually give the All-Star Collection Peach plush a point for having a much more consistent touch tag placement. And that's kind of a surprise, considering that, I gave the Super Nintendo World Mario and Luigi a point, like for the colored touch tags, but honestly, I kind of think the Sine ones, do it a lot better, because even though the Hollywood touch tag, does have like, its touch tag placed in one of her legs like the Sine one, the Japanese one has it on the side of her dress, and I don't think it would look nearly as good. Especially, when I show you more of the dress later. Alright, let's see which one scales the best. Now, one thing I did not like about the Sine All-Star Collection Peach plush, or I mean really like any of Sine's Peach plushes in general, is that they never really scale well with the other characters. Especially Mario and Luigi. Now, the height of Princess Peach is very inconsistent, to say the least, because like there have been times where like Peach is like only slightly taller, like around Luigi's height, while other times she's even a bit taller than Luigi himself. I kind of personally see Peach as being the same height as Luigi. I kind of like that scale a little better, and Mario is just slightly shorter. That's kind of my preferred height for Mario and Luigi and Peach. The main Mario trio. But sadly, I mean, it doesn't matter like which Peach plush it is. I mean, Sine always makes their Peach the same height as Mario, and I'm just not a big fan of it. I feel like Peach should be at least around Luigi's height. Alright, so here's the Super Nintendo World Peach next to the Super Nintendo World Mario and Luigi. And you could definitely tell that the scaling is much better on both characters. I think Peach should be slightly taller than Mario. And I think the Super Nintendo World plush does a decent job at making her a bit taller, and I really like that. Same with like Luigi. I'm gonna have to say, I mean, Luigi, I did give the Sine Luigi a point for being, a much more accurate scale, but honestly, I don't think the scaling on the Super Nintendo World Luigi is all that bad. So honestly, I think this is kind of how I feel like most plush companies should should make the scale of the Mario trio. Basically just make Luigi and Peach slightly taller than Mario, and you're pretty much all set. So I'm gonna give the Super Nintendo World Peach a point for having a much better, she scales a lot better with the boys. Alright, now let's talk about the crown. So here's what the Super Nintendo World Peach's crown looks like, if the camera can focus, because sadly the camera that I use has a really difficult time focusing. Alright, so you could tell that all her details are embroidered, look really shiny. The back looks like. And what's cool about this crown is that it's made out of a much harder material, so you can definitely tell. They really did not skip out on the detail of the crown. As for the Sine All-Star Collection Peach, you can definitely tell that all her details are just... Yeah, I think all her details are just like ironed on or something. I mean, they just seemed ironed on, but yeah, I mean, it's kind of the exact same pattern, but I feel like the material is not quite as sturdy as the Nintendo World one. So I mean, you could definitely see, that the crown, is not quite as, it's not quite as perfect looking as the Nintendo World one. And yeah, I mean, obviously this is a $15 plush, this is a $20 plush, so I can definitely understand, that these plushes are somewhat made on a budget though. But yeah, I mean, this one's gonna be really easy for me. I definitely think the Super Nintendo World Peach should get a point for having a much better quality crown. Next up, we have the hair. So, I mean, the hair on the All-Star Collection Peach is, it was okay for the time. I mean, her back hair is, feels a little too fat. At least they got the back of her hair and everything. And her bangs look okay, I guess. And her sideburns, they're definitely a little, they do kind of a little stick out a bit. Initially, I wasn't a big fan, of her hair, mainly, her bangs, because, a lot of the pictures I've seen, they always, look like this, they shoot way outwards. But you can actually, push them in to make them a little bit more accurate to Peach. And I definitely think it looks a lot better. I mean, you could definitely, look how 3D, her bangs look compared to, the All-Star one. I do feel like her sideburns look a bit more sturdier, and the back of her hair doesn't look quite as fat as the All-Star one, and it still has all her details down and everything. And hold on a second. Oh yeah. One thing interesting is that there's actually some stitching on the back of Peach's hair, so so she can't have her hair out. Whereas the Super Nintendo World one doesn't have that issue. It's not sewn onto the back of the plush, so so you can move the hair a bit freely. So yeah, so this one's a pretty easy one. It might be a bit debatable, because I can definitely see some people liking the All-Star Peach's hair a little better. But personally, I think the Super Nintendo World Peach's hair looks a lot better, looks a lot more accurate, to Peach's design. So, of course, I definitely think Super Nintendo World Peach should get the point for the hair. Let's go over her earrings, because, yeah, here's what the Super Nintendo World one looks like. They're made out of felt, but they're actually they seem to be attached to the plush's head, which is actually very interesting, very smart move, honestly. And they kind of have this this texture to it to make them look shiny. It definitely looks a lot more like the modern, some of the most recent Peach renders, where where her blue earrings and her blue chest, they're a lot more shiny and prettier looking. The All-Star Collections' earrings, they're just yeah, it's pretty much just oh, they are actually attached to the ears. So yeah, they're actually attached to the ears as well. So I guess I should also give this one a big credit for that. I'm gonna have to look at a picture of Peach, just to see which one is the closest. Actually, I'm not gonna care about that. I'm just gonna give the Super Nintendo World Peach a point for having much cooler looking earrings. Now let's talk about the eyebrows, because that's a pretty important detail. So for the All-Star Collection Peach's eyebrows, they're pretty thin and they're a little long. And I think it closely matches. I think it actually closely matches the eyebrows on the official renders. Whereas the All-Star Collection Peach's eyebrows, they also look good, but they're not quite as long enough. So I'm gonna. So I think the point for the most accurate looking eyebrows, I'm gonna give it to the Sine All-Star Collection Peach. Now for the eyes themselves. If there's one thing I like about the Super Nintendo World Peach's eyes is that the white highlights, they're pretty much on the exact same angle. Both highlights are in the top left, which is definitely accurate to Peach's official design. Whereas the All-Star Collection Peach, they don't go in the exact same direction. They're a bit cross-eyed, you could see. But I think what's more important than the highlights would probably be how many eyelashes she has. Because if you look at the official renders of Peach, you could see that Peach has been consistently has 6 eyelashes. So whichever one is more accurate, they need to have at least 6 eyelashes. So for the Super Nintendo World Peach, she has 1, 2, 3, 4 eyelashes. Which, yeah, she is missing 2. I mean, they definitely look very nice though. And then for the Sine All-Star Collection Peach, she has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So she does accurately have 6 eyelashes. So I definitely do think the embroidery is a little bit better, but I'm gonna give the Sine All-Star Collection Peach a point for having, all of her eyelashes. Now let's do her nose. So back in the Mario Party 5 days, Sine's Peach Plush did not have her eyebrows and nose, which, made her look really off, look a bit more amphibian-like. But around the time they redid her for the Super Mario series and the All-Star Collection, they did give her a little nose and, the eyebrows, which we already talked about earlier. And yeah, that's pretty much her nose. It's just that little boop. And then they just, called it a day. The Super Nintendo World Peach Plush, her nose, it's also embroidered, but there's definitely a lot more depth to it, which I think makes her, look a bit more accurate. So I'm gonna give the Super Nintendo World Peach a point for having a much more appealing nose. It's a lips. Alright, so here are the Super Nintendo World Peach's lips. I really like that smile. It looks really nice, especially, with the dimples and everything. Well, it's not really dimples, but it's like that, whatever you call it. And yeah, I mean, they just look really nice. It really just gives her a lot of personality, honestly. Whereas the All-Star Collection Peach, her lips, I mean, they just look fine, but there's just nothing really, it's not really all that interesting, because I feel like it's not quite as expressive as the Super Nintendo World lips. So this one's another easy round. The point for having, the best lips, definitely the Super Nintendo World Peach. About her neck, you can definitely see that, Peach's collar from her dress has some details. So we just have to make sure that either of those 2 Peach plushes, looks the closest to this collar. So the All-Star Collection Peach definitely does kind of have that. The camera could focus. Yeah, I could definitely see that the All-Star Peach does, have do a much better job, with the, with making the collar look a bit like the renders. Whereas the Super Nintendo World one, I could barely see. I mean, you could barely see the, see the collar and everything. I guess the Super Nintendo World one also does a pretty good job. I think the neck looks just a lot more accurate, because you could definitely see there's a separation between her dress and her neck. Whereas the All-Star one, there just doesn't really seem to be much of a separation. So initially I was going to give the All-Star Collection Peach to the point, but now that I actually do have the Super Nintendo World Peach plush in my hands, and looking at her neck, I think I'm actually going to give her the point for having a much better collar. A collar that actually looks, even if you can hardly see, much looks closer to the render, and for just having easy separation between the the head and the dress. So yeah, Super Nintendo World Peach gets the point. We're gonna take a quick break, but so far the All-Star Collection Peach has 4 points, while the Super Nintendo World Peach plush has 7 points. So the Super Nintendo World Peach only needs like 3 more points to win the plush battle. Now let's look at her overall dress, because I think what Super Nintendo World did just looks so nice. I wish the camera can focus a lot better, but I digress. They definitely used a different material for her dress compared to Sine, which used pretty much their regular old, plush pattern. But you can definitely see it makes her dress look a lot more authentic. It just really looks authentic and high quality even. And here's what the Sine All-Star Collection Peach's dress looks like. It just looks so faded in comparison. I know Sine's is, pastel looking colors on their plushes is sort of like their trademark and their art style. But I don't know, like something about like her dress, you just lose something, when you try to, apply that art style to the dress. It just looks faded by comparison. I'm not sure if all the other, if your Peach plush is like this, but so I mean this one's definitely an easy win, so I'm definitely going to give that point to the Super Nintendo World Peach plush. Now let's talk about a certain part of her dress, her jewel. As you can see, the Sine one that I have, it's a bit misplaced. It should be centered, but it's not. That's not really a fault of the plush itself, just specifically the one I have. And yeah, basically it's just made out of felt, so like in like 10 or 20 years, the glue might dry up and it'll fall off at some point. But the Super Nintendo World, on the other hand, it is embroidered, so it's always going to be consistently centered. And oh yeah, not only is like is her gold border embroidered, but she also has that same, shiny, glittery detail that her earrings have, and it just makes it look super nice. So it definitely looks a lot better on the Super Nintendo World plush, so I'm definitely going to give that particular plush a point for having a much better jewel. Now let's check out her gloves. So yeah, here's what the Super Nintendo World Peach's gloves look like. I like how they, have that detail, which is pretty accurate to the official artwork, because you could see that Peach's gloves have like that little, point on it. And I think Super Nintendo World was able to capture it really well. Yeah, sadly, even though, her gloves do have fingers, they did not give her fingers. Whereas the All-Star Collection Peach, they didn't really do that great of a job capturing. I mean, they kind of missed that detail on her gloves, but at least, she does have. At least she does have, actual fingers. It might be hard, to see because, the lighting on this camera makes the white so bright. But you can definitely tell that she has finger stitching. So yeah, this is going to be a serious toss-up. I'm going to give the gloves a tie. This one definitely, it does have the detail of her, of her gloves. But this one has, like, her actual fingers. So it's probably best that this round will be a draw. Alright, so please be mature about this round, because we are going to look up under her dress. Because it is very important for, I mean, if I'm going to talk about Plush, I mean, obviously I'm going to look under their dress, just for detail purposes. But yeah, you could see that, her lower half, it's just pink, and there's her legs. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Now we get to Super Nintendo World Peach's dress. You can definitely tell it's much longer. You can definitely tell that her legs are much longer than on the frickin' Sine plush. Her heels, they're definitely made out of a different high quality material. They make it look shiny by comparison. They do look a little bit more odd compared to the Sine one, if I'm gonna be honest. But another thing that's interesting is that, like, she has, like, a white skirt inside her dress. That's kind of pretty interesting, because I don't think Peach was ever depicted like this before. I mean, obviously, like, you never, look under Peach's dress for obvious reasons. But yeah, it's kind of interesting, that they give her like a white mini skirt. So obviously, I'm going to give the 10th and final point to the Super Nintendo World Peach plush. I just think her legs look better, and her heels are made of a really, shiny, neat material. So I'm gonna give the final point to the Super Nintendo World Peach. Unfortunately, the All-Star Collection Peach plush only got 4 points as a result. So sorry, All-Star Collection Peach, you are not the best. I mean, to be brutally honest, I mean, like, you never were in the first place. I can name a few Peach plushes that I think are better than you. And that includes the winner of this plush battle. With 10 points, we have the Super Nintendo World Peach plush. So the Nintendo World Peach plush, she is part of the 10-inch, 11-inch-ish scale. And not only does she scale really well with Mario and Luigi, but there's a lot of detail in her, and some of the materials they use look fantastic. Honestly, out of all these Super Nintendo World plushes I own, Peach is probably my favorite in the set. And I guess I'll cut the All-Star Collection Peach, like, some slack, because I mean, like, she does have, nicer looking eyes and eyebrows. And she is a much more affordable plush to get, especially since since the Super Nintendo World plushes only go, even though they're $20 at the parks, I mean, like, not everyone can go to Universal Studios Japan or Universal Studios Hollywood, and be able to get these. So they might have them to resort to, places like eBay or Mercari, or maybe like a Japanese proxy site or something, and get some of these plushes. And a lot of times they're really expensive on especially eBay. I mean look at the prices on any Super Nintendo World plush on eBay, and they're asking for way too much, honestly. I mean, I know they're theme park exclusive plushes, but still. One benefit to the All-Star Collection Peach plush is that she's a lot more affordable. She's pretty much just $5 less, and she's much more widely available. It doesn't matter if it's at on like Amazon, sometimes eBay, but you have to be very aware for bootlegs, because there aren't, I mean, there's definitely some fake All-Star Mario and Luigi's, but they're not quite as common, and it's much more easy to tell that they're fake. But with the All-Star Collection Peach, that one has definitely been you know, widely faked, so definitely be aware. If you do want to get the All-Star Collection Peach plush, make sure, you know, that yours is not fake, and make sure it has the official All-Star Collection tag, and make sure, if it's a US one, make sure it says Little Buddy. But so far, I think Super Nintendo World has really beaten the All-Star Collection plushes in terms of accuracy and just like overall just high quality plushes. I mean, I guess maybe, you know, just because, you know, they're like $5 more than the All-Star Collection plushes, but man, are they just really high quality. And even if they are, you know, highly accurate, and you know, there's still like, you know, there's still some details, you know, that make them a little slightly off, but very charming, which I think is something I never really get for the All-Star plushes, because like with the All-Star plushes, they just look like, you know, the characters very accurately, and that's just pretty much it. You know, there's just not a lot of things going for them. But the Super Nintendo World Peach plushes, even if they are highly accurate, you know, they still have their, you know, charm and everything, sort of on par with, say, you know, like the Mario Party 5 set. That's just the first one I could think of. I was gonna say like Kelly Toy or something, but no, I think Kelly Toy is, you know, it's completely its own thing. But the Super Nintendo World ones, I mean, if you happen to go to the Universal theme parks, whether it be Hollywood or Japan, definitely pick one of these plushes. And if one of the gift shops has the Peach plush, definitely get it. I mean, because like with the Mario and Luigi All-Star ones, I mean, you can definitely, I mean, if you don't want to get the Nintendo World ones and just get the All-Star ones instead, I mean, that's perfectly fine. But when it comes to Princess Peach, definitely get the Super Nintendo World one, because for all of, you know, the things that I've said earlier. So yeah, that's going to be it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Which Peach plush do you like more, the All-Star one or the Super Nintendo World one? Do you agree or disagree with my thoughts or anything like that? Let me know in the comments below. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you are subscribed to the channel, make sure to ring the notification bell so you won't miss out on any videos that I produce. I'll see you real soon. Same plush time, same plush channel.